What's up, YouTube? It's your boy A back with another reaction video. Shit, how y'all day been going? My day been going good. Nigga got off work. You feel me? Nigga just got off work and shit. But so basically we got the Queenpin. She took over her brother Empire or whatever. You feel me? Something like that. You feel me? Something going on like that. But let's see what's going on though.
Keone was out front. Ada stayed quiet in the background, watching, learning, absorbing how power really worked. She didn't need to be loud. She was paying attention. By the early 2000s, the Savage operation wasn't hiding in abandoned warehouses or secret trap houses. The heart of it all was a regular row home at 3643 North Darien Street. Everybody in their circle knew it as the Castle. That was where money got counted, orders got issued, and lives could be decided in seconds. Ada, nearly 10 years younger than Keone, never flinched at the violence around her. Nobody had to teach her the rules. She understood early that in their world, loyalty was everything, and fear was the enforcement. The Keone Savage Organization, KSO, wasn't just about selling weight. It ran on a brutal philosophy. No witness, no crime. If nobody talked, the government had nothing, and the Savages were willing to do anything, to keep witness chairs empty. Things began to crack in 2004, when Keone was locked up at the Federal Detention Center in Philadelphia, staring down massive drug charges. But the paperwork wasn't the real danger.
He talks at length about his desire to eliminate witnesses and eliminate families. At one point, he tells an associate, no witness, no crime.
The real threat had a name, Eugene Twin Coleman. Twin was Keone's right-hand man. He knew everything, every stash, every hit, every secret. And when Twin got arrested, he did what people do when the math turns ugly. He cooperated. He agreed to testify. That wasn't just betrayal, that was war. But Keone was locked behind glass and steel.
Hey y'all, I'm finna be right back. Hold on, look, give me like 2 seconds. Back. You feel me? Let's get back into this video, guys.
And that meant someone else had to make sure the message got sent. Keone needed somebody on the outside who could move freely, somebody he trusted without question. Ada didn't hesitate for a second. She stepped straight into the role of street boss while her brother sat behind federal walls. She was visiting Keone constantly at the FDC, standing behind the glass while he ranted, plotted, and unloaded his rage. Ada listened carefully, then took those orders right back to the streets. From that moment on, Ada handled business. She moved money, managed people, and made sure anyone even thinking about cooperating felt pressure immediately. She didn't bluff or play cute. She applied heat fast. And her first target was...
I ain't gonna lie, hey, Brad's talking slow as hell, gang. We finna speed this shit up. Yeah, man. Yeah, we can't speed it up no more.
Clear. In late 2003, Ada confronted Eugene Twin Coleman face-to-face inside the prison visiting room. She told him, "Don't let these crackers break you," trying to shame and intimidate him into silence. It was direct pressure, plain and simple. When that didn't work, she followed up with a move that would later bury her in court, a handwritten letter. In that letter, Ada tried to pull on memories and emotions. She reminded Twin about family trips to Wildwood, great adventure, and even her graduation. Then the tone flipped hard. She cursed him out, demanded to know exactly what he told the feds, and made it clear his cooperation was unacceptable. That letter became a smoking gun. By October 2004, it was clear Twin was still going to testify. That's when the organization decided to go nuclear. On the night of October 8, 2004, the phone rang inside the castle. Keone was calling from prison. He asked for Lamont Poppy Eye Lewis, the crew's chief enforcer, a man who would later admit to at least 11 murders. Keone didn't spell anything out on the
admitted
line.
to 11 murders, gang.
He told Lewis that Ada would explain everything once the call ended. That moment changed Ada's life forever. As soon as the line went dead, Ada turned to Lewis and gave clear instructions. She told him to firebomb the Coleman house. She told him to do it between 3 and 4 in the morning when everyone would be asleep. She wanted no witnesses left behind. She promised him $5,000 that same night. Ada rode with Lewis through North Philly, cruising block by block. When they reached the 3,200 block of North 6th Street, she slowed the car and pointed. "That's it," she said. The house was 3,256 North 6th Street. Inside that home were people with no involvement in the streets. Twins' 54-year-old mother, Marcella Coleman, his niece, Tamika Nash, 5 children, Sean Rodriguez, 15, Che, 12, Kadeja Nash, 10, and a 15-month-old baby, twin son, Dear Jenkins. What happened next would shock the city, devastate families, and permanently mark Ada Savage as more than just a lieutenant. But that part of the story is where everything truly collapses. They were all asleep in the early morning hours of October 9th, unaware their lives were about to end in seconds. Lamont,
this bitch out here sending hits and shit for her brother that's doing Fed time, gang. Like, you know, what y'all think about that?
Lewis didn't move alone. He brought in his cousin, Robert B.J. Merritt, to help finish the job.
Yeah.
They stopped at a gas station, filled 2 red gas cans, scooped up a firearm in West Philly, and headed north at 4:08 a.m. with one goal in mind. On the way, a Philadelphia police officer pulled them over for speeding. The gas cans were visible. The weapon was right there. Everything that could have ended it was in plain sight. But fate stepped in. The officer got a priority radio call and let them go with nothing more than a warning. That moment alone would later haunt the entire case. They reached North 6th Street around 5 a.m. The block was quiet, still, asleep. Lewis kicked in the front door and immediately fired 2 shots inside to stop anyone from running. Merritt splashed gasoline across the living room and tossed the first can. The second followed right behind it. The fire exploded instantly. The staircase turned into a wall of flames. There was no exit, no escape, no chance. As they ran, Lewis could hear screaming coming from inside the house. He called Ada and told her the job was done. By the time firefighters arrived, there was nothing left to save. The medical examiner later said the victims were essentially trapped where they stood. 6 people and the family dog were gone.
38-year-old former boxer turned drug kingpin for the murders of 12 people, 6 of whom died in a firebombing he had ordered from prison.
An associate of Savage who was preparing to testify against him were killed. In all, 6 people were killed in that firebombing. 4 children ranging in age from 15 months to 15 years, and 2 women.
Ada met Lewis afterward to pay him, and even then, she played him. Instead of the promised $5,000, she handed over $2,000, a beat-up car, and later some drugs. When Lewis told her he didn't know children were inside and expected at least some reaction, shock, regret, anything, Ada didn't flinch. Her response was cold and dismissive, making it clear she felt no remorse whatsoever. To really understand how someone like Ada Savage could calmly help order a house burned with kids inside, you have to look past her. You have to look at the architect of the nightmare, her brother, Keone "Cab" Savage. Before he became a federal inmate, Cab was a kid from the Richard Allen projects in North Philly. Born on New Year's Day, 1975, his life shifted early. When he was just 13, his father, Joe Savage, died of cancer. Without a steady hand at home, the streets stepped in and finished raising him. Cab flirted with going legit, or at least looking legit. He trained at the legendary Front Street Gym, a breeding ground for real fighters. As a junior welterweight, he had quick hands, a sharp jab, and serious potential. In 1997, he even turned pro and won his first fight. But boxing money moves slow. And in North Philly, street money moves fast. So Cab put the gloves down and picked the scale up. He didn't jump straight into kingpin status, but the path he chose would eventually burn everything in its way. He started small, but his mind was never built for small plays. Cab Savage began pushing PCP wet right out of his own mother's crib on North Darien Street, moving quiet at first, stacking slow. But anybody who knew him back then could tell. He wasn't wired to stay on the corner forever. By the late 90s, Cab wasn't touching ounces anymore. He was moving serious weight, talking hundreds of kilos, fully plugged in with the Erie Avenue mob, flooding Philly with product like a factory line. Money was pouring in, fear was spreading, and his name was ringing bells in places most people never even stepped foot in. That same family row house at 3643 North Darien Street became ground zero for everything. Everybody called it the castle. That's where orders were given, money counted, and people's fates decided. Inside those walls, Cab ran his crew on one brutal rule: no witness, no crime. And that rule wasn't just talk.
Am I tripping, gang, or did this nigga just say that? He just said that, like, about 10 minutes ago.
was
You just
carved
said
into
the
the
same
streets with
thing.
blood. That mindset really took shape on March 19, 1998 at 8th and Butler Streets. A man named Kenneth Lassiter accidentally bumped Cab's car while parking. Nothing serious, just a minor fender hit. Lassiter apologized, tried to smooth it over, but Cab wasn't hearing it. Cab jumped out, demanded money on the spot, and when Lassiter didn't move fast enough, Cab pulled a gun and shot him dead in the street, just like that. The problem was, someone saw it. Tibius Tib Flowers, a local boxer who actually knew Cab from the gym. Tib was ready to testify. That meant Cab was staring straight at life in prison, but even locked up, Cab's reach didn't stop. Word went out, Tib Flowers was never supposed to make it to court. On March 1st, 2004, just days before trial, Tib was sitting in his car on the 3700 block of North 8th Street. A shooter walked up and unloaded 17 rounds into him. With the key witness gone, the DA's case collapsed. Cab walked free. That moment taught him a lesson he never forgot. Silence beats prison every time. After that, the KSO got even darker.
Tib Flowers. Like Savage, a boxer, Flowers was prepared to testify against Savage in a common police court murder trial. 2 days before that trial, he was gunned down, and that trial never took place.
In September 2000, one of Cab's own associates, Mansour Shafiq Abdullah, ended up on the wrong side of Cab's paranoia. Cab believed Abdullah was skimming money, so he paid him what he owed, cash packed inside a red sneaker box. Then, without hesitation, Cab had his enforcer Kareem Bree shoot him. But they didn't stop there. They burned the body and dumped it on North Park Avenue. Fire wasn't just cruelty, it was strategy. Burning erased evidence, destroyed DNA, and wiped trails clean. And that wouldn't be the last body. A year later, in September 2001, Carlton Muhammad Brown became the next name added to the list. By then, the message was clear. Cross Cab Savage, and the streets would never hear your side of the story. Cab believed Carlton Muhammad Brown had something to do with the death of one of his close friends. And in Cab's world, suspicion alone was a death sentence. He didn't argue. He didn't investigate. He sent Lamont Poppy Eye Lewis to handle it. Brown was shot dead on Darien Street, right near the Savage family home, sending a clear message to anyone watching. Then came February 2003, and another body hit the ground. Barry Parker tried to take over a drug
Hey, so was this nigga getting shit spanked or not?
corner at Franklin and Lucerne, a
Nigga,
spot that
he
belonged to
getting
Stephen
niggas
Northington, one of Cab's lieutenants. Northington complained to Cab, and Cab's response was cold and direct. Nobody takes what's yours. Handle your business. Parker was hunted down and shot in the chest, executed over territory and ego. No speeches, no warnings, just bullets. In March 2003, the violence got even darker. Tyrone Tolliver became the next target. Cab suspected Tolliver was cooperating with law enforcement, but there was another motive too. Cab wanted to test his closest lieutenant, Eugene Twin Coleman. Cab forced Twin to help dispose of Tolliver's body, dragging him deeper into blood and guilt so he'd never be able to turn on the organization. Cab thought he was trapping Twin forever. What he didn't realize was that fear only works until survival kicks in. By April 2004, the feds finally came hard. Cab was indicted on massive drug conspiracy charges and locked up at the Federal Detention Center in Philadelphia. He was facing decades behind bars, maybe life. Then the nightmare scenario hit.
Hey, y'all, I did not fart. Oh, my goddamn shoe.
Eugene Twin Coleman cooperated. Cab had beaten a murder case before by killing a witness. He thought he could do it again. But this time was different. Twin was locked in protective custody. Cab couldn't reach him. So he reached for the next closest thing. Twin's family. What Cab didn't know was this time the government was ready. The FBI had his cell bugged, the visiting room bugged, the phones bugged. Every word, every rant, every plan was being recorded. After the firebombing that killed 6 members of the Coleman family, including children, the tapes revealed something chilling. Cab wasn't remorseful, he was excited. On recorded calls, he laughed with other inmates, joking that Twin wouldn't be able to have open casket funerals for his mother or baby son because their bodies were burned beyond recognition. He mocked the deaths. He made jokes that crossed every line.
Federal authorities planted a secret listening device in his prison cell and recorded dozens of conversations in which they allege he plotted the murders of witnesses who were preparing to testify against him.
In another recording, Cab explained his mindset, and it was twisted beyond repair. He said he didn't see the children as innocent. To him, they were future threats. His justification was simple and disturbing. If his kids were hurting, their kids had to suffer too. That right there tells you everything about how far gone Cab Savage really was. No limits, no mercy, no humanity left at all. And the worst part, the government was listening to every single word. This was the man Ada Sid punish a cooperating witness, laughing, joke brain behind the madness. A grown man sitting in a concrete box, laughing, joking, and fantasizing about murdering toddlers just to punish a cooperating witness. While Keone Savage was cracking jokes about barbecue sauce and popcorn, he had no idea he was digging his own grave. Because what he really did was hand the government everything they needed. This wasn't just a drug case anymore. This wasn't even just a murder case. The feds quietly shifted gears and started building a death penalty case.
Kids got a bet. I'm making my kids cry. I want to smack one of these 4-year-old sons in the head with a bat. I'm going to smack one of these 4-year-old sons in the head with a bat.
They called it Operation Falling Star, and the name fit perfectly. The Savage Empire, built on fear, fire, and silence, was finally burning out. But the KSO didn't collapse because law enforcement suddenly got smarter. It collapsed because of the one thing Keone Savage feared more than prison itself: a rat. In 2007, 3 years after the Coleman home was turned into ashes, federal agents caught up with Lamont "Poppy Eye" Lewis. At first, it wasn't even about the firebombing. It was unrelated charges that pulled him off the street. But once the feds laid everything on the table, multiple murders, RICO, and the very real possibility of execution, the man known for being a cold-blooded enforcer broke. He flipped on everybody: the king, the queen, the whole court. That cooperation cracked the case wide open and set the stage for United States versus Savage, one of the most disturbing trials Philadelphia had ever seen.
So this nigga then told
The trial
him,
kicked
nigga.
off in February 2013, and from day one,
Nigga
it was
done
clear this
told
wasn't
on nigga,
normal.
gang.
The jury was anonymous and sequestered. U.S. Marshals escorted them everywhere. Everybody in that courtroom understood the danger. This was an organization that treated witness murder like standard procedure. The prosecution laid the case out brick by brick. On May 13th, 2013, after hearing everything, the tapes, the testimony, the timeline, the jury came back with its verdict. And once those words were read, there was no coming back. Guilty on every single count. Ada Savage was convicted of RICO conspiracy, 6 counts of murder in aid of racketeering, witness retaliation, and using fire to commit a felony. If you found this breakdown valuable, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and
So that was a good ass video. It was decent. Dude that took forever to goddamn say what he was saying. He kept saying the same shit. Like, what the fuck, bitch? Damn. But bet, catch y'all in the next video. It's your boy A and I'm out. Oh shit, hey, I forgot to tell y'all, like, comment, subscribe.